What is up, everybody? I am back with another lesson video. I have some knowledge that I want to drop on you that will probably enhance your playing permanently if you master this technique. Now, in my opinion, this is actually the ultimate technique that will make your playing smoother and faster and effortless more than any other technique that I've taught on this channel. And it's really not talked about hardly ever. I really haven't seen anyone talk about it except for my own guitar teachers, truthfully. Specifically, one of my guitar teachers. Shout out to Greg Harrison. He is truly the best guitar player I know on planet Earth. So he taught me this technique. I can't take credit for it, but I'm very thankful that he taught me this technique because it helped me vastly with my playing.
Before I jump into today's video, I just want to mention my free monthly newsletter. If you hit the link in the description below, it will forward you to my website with a sign-up form, and you will be forwarded my free monthly newsletter as well as all of my tabs for every single video on my YouTube channel. And of course, with that, you'll have access to my email address. Please feel free to email me with any guitar or gear-related questions anytime.
Let's get into this. I've talked to you about pick slanting before. I've talked to you about using your wrist forward and backwards instead of side to side before. And I've talked to you about getting momentum in your pick strokes while you're playing quite a bit. You know, economy picking, sweep picking, all that. This is none of those. I want to talk to you about arm movements across all the strings, okay? Now, you could play all this stuff pretty fast. Just want you guys to watch my arm right now. All right, so when I'm going across all the strings, I am moving my arm up. If I'm descending, I'm moving up every time I switch a string, okay? If I'm going ascending forward, I'm moving my arm up every time I ascend a string. Now, these arm movements are very minuscule. You almost can't see them if you're not paying attention. But I'm quite literally micro-moving, basically, with every string change that I make on the guitar. A great example, here's an exercise that I've given actually on this channel before, but now you can use it for a different purpose. So if you already have mastered tremolo picking, which if you haven't, I highly recommend watching this video right here, you are going to want to now try tremolo picking across all the strings, because that's how you're really going to know if you understand this technique. This technique is what separates the very best guitar players from the people that are kind of intermediate, advanced, trying to get into that next level, okay? If you get tired while you're playing, this will solve that problem. If you ever feel fatigue in your wrist, this will solve that problem. This enables you to have ultimate relaxation in your playing. I'm not a doctor, but I will say from overcoming a lot of wrist issues myself over the years, this technique definitely has helped my playing in that realm vastly. To a point where I almost have no wrist issues anymore to this day, which is pretty crazy. That's just my personal experience. Like I said, I'm not a doctor, so don't take my word for it. The ergonomics of your hand, okay, always revolve around your wrist supinating or going 90. You never want to flail. That's a strain. All up in here, and these joints here, and here as well, okay? Here is perfect. When I'm holding the pick, if I take this movement, put it on the guitar, I am pronated. My only movements go from slight supination to pronation of the wrist. To keep that movement, and here's what usually will happen. People will learn how to play fast, pretty clean actually as well. Like, by no means are some of them even sloppy, but they'll learn how to play fast, and then they get up to the high string, and then look what happens. They start flailing out this way, okay? And all of a sudden, they can't get it as accurately. They don't know why it's happening, okay? It happens to a lot of people. It's happened to me in the past. It happens to students of mine now. to solve this issue, instead of this, the movement that you really never want to have on guitar, you're going to start higher up here with your shoulder, okay? There shouldn't be any pain here. You should still be able to kind of relax your shoulders if you want to, dip them down, because you're going to rest your forearm right here. As you ascend the strings, if I'm tremolo picking, you want to be very loose. Now look, my arm is moving with the string. What happened when I did that? It made it so I could keep the pronated position. So that slight supination is obviously so I can actually, alternate pick through the strokes. Because you can't alternate pick without the slight supination. But it really should not be over-exaggerated either, because that would also be a strain, okay? So your goal is to keep the pronated wrist at all times. And then you're going to slightly move your arm up. That will enable you for ultimate relaxation. Now keep in mind the other caveats of this is you want to hold your guitar pick with a dead fish hand. Meaning that every time you move up the strings, you should literally feel your pick doing this. It should not be tight to the point where you're actually slicing through the strings. It really should be where you're almost dropping the pick, but not, basically. Okay? And that's along with this arm movement. Okay? How you should practice this at first is starting with the lowest string. Okay? Because another problem that a lot of guitar players have is combating the lower string gauges being thicker than the higher string gauges. If you hold your pick loosely, that will pretty much solve the problem on its own, okay? That part really doesn't have much to do with the wrist stuff as much as how tight you're holding the pick. I play with light strings. I play with 9s. On this guitar, it has 9s. I usually actually play with 8s. Like on the Strat, I got 8s. So lighter string gauge will help with that as well. Everything be loose. Hand loose, pick loose, wrist loose. No strain. If you have to do stretches before this, do the stretches, okay? Do whatever it's going to take to get you relaxed while you're playing, okay? So, here we go with the exercise. It's just going to be all chromatic, starting on the 5th fret to the 8th fret, okay? First, we're going to start with alternate picking, down ups, all of the strings. So we go down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. Now, you're going to not be able to get speed on this if you don't do the arm thing. So make sure you're watching this hand. The reason I'm giving it to you chromatic here, and it doesn't sound very musical, is because I want you to focus on your right hand while you're playing this. I don't want you to look over here. You shouldn't have to. If you have to look over here, you're not ready for this exercise. I want you to string skip on the way down. The string skipping will prove to you that you got the technique nailed if you can do it, because you're going to have to move your arm every time you switch a string. Now, how do you do this without getting caught on the strings? When you do the upstrokes, you need to scoop that upstroke like it's ice cream, okay? Seriously. Don't think of upstrokes as up anymore. Think of them as out and away when you need to switch strings. Doesn't mean every upstroke you do is that, because you'll fail the exercise either way if you do it like that. But whenever you switch strings, see that? Look how high I go with that. And then I come right back down. Okay? Now, once you got this at a pretty good speed, I'm at 100. Let's just go for it. We want it to be whole notes as well on the click. So you're going to do 16th notes. Quarter notes on the click. So you're going to do 16th notes for every note. So, 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and like that. Okay? Alright. Now the next thing you can do this for is obviously 3 notes a string, economy picking, okay? There's going to be the same frets and everything, and once you get to the top, I want you to shift up 1 fret, okay? And and then try to do sextuplets. All right, just like that. So you'll really know if you got this exercise, like I said, if you can play all the notes clean and precise and all the same volume. If any of your notes are not the same volume, you are not doing the exercise correctly, okay? They must all be the same volume. I recommend doing this. Sorry, I'm looking for a different pick. I recommend doing this on the clean channel, okay? I also recommend playing with multiple picks, okay? Multiple different picks. I like the Dunlap Jazz 3s, although I'm looking for Jazz 3 2.0. I don't have one on me right now. But I recommend trying a couple different picks for this. I actually also recommend just trying different picks in general. I'm definitely of the school of thought of multiple pick choices. You know, if you can play with multiple picks, you really got your technique down. You shouldn't have to be reliant on the type of pick you're using either. I will say, though, of course, like if you're using a very flimsy pick, that's not very easy to do this thing with. But I'm talking about just pick size. You should be able to play with a small pick and a large one. That's how you really know if you got the exercise. All right, so you really want to do the arm thing a lot and get comfortable with it. Incorporate it into all of your playing, regardless of what style of music it is. It's just great technique, and you won't get tired. You won't get fatigue in your wrists. You can play for hours, and you'll be good to go. So with that being said, I really appreciate all of you for watching this video, and I hope you got a lot out of it. Please leave a comment below if you did, and remember, like, subscribe, all of that, and I'll see you on the next one. Have a good day.